Are you on the fence about going to see a chiropractor? Are they any good or worth the money? Let me tell you about my experiences over the past 30 plus years and let you decide whether you think they're worth a try. Hi, I'm Linda, and my first visit with the chiropractor was back in 1988. I had had back pain off and on since I was 15 years old. At that time, I was 30 years old. And I just dealt with the pain, using pain medications and just resting, thinking that was going to help. And a lot of times it did, but it took a long time, and I would wind up days in quite a bit of pain. I figured, and then one day when I was 30 years old, I was taking horseback riding lessons, which is something I had always wanted to do. It was English riding lessons, and we were learning how to do the 2-point. For those who don't know, 2-point is when you lift your butt off the saddle and put your weight totally in your heels, as they do for jumping. And I was having all kinds of problems with this way of riding. I was just like in so much pain. I couldn't hold the 2-point position. I mean, there were beginners coming in after I was, and they were getting it really quick, and I just couldn't get it what's at all. And I was just like in so much pain. My dad recommended chiropractor he had seen one time for his back pain. And so I called and made a consultation, figuring, what have I got to lose? He first laid me on the table, and he felt along the bones in my spine, paying particular attention to the lower back and hips. Then he said he wanted to take an x-ray. And I said, okay, let's take an x-ray. And he took an x-ray, and when he showed it to me, I was quite creeped out. My spine was really crooked it was nice and straight in the upper part, but then at the very lower end, it like twisted around, and one hip was higher than the other. It was like really gross. I was looking at that thinking, do I walk with a limp? One hip's higher. And it was really bad. I was wondering how the heck I could even walk. I said, how the heck did that happen? Because I never had an accident. And he said, I'm going to show you a video. This will show you how it does happen. He didn't tell me what he was showing me, but it wound up being a doctor's view of having a woman having a baby back in the 50s, when they used to put women totally out. So the doctor had to do all the work, and pushing and pulling and twisting and trying to get the baby out. And it's kind of gross to me. I've never had a baby, and I never wanted one. It was just like, ugh. But I mean, he had the baby's head, and he was like twisting around trying to get it out and pulling. I'm like, no wonder I have a back like that if I had to put up with that to be born. I don't know. I'm guessing it was like that when I was born. Anyway, I started going to the chiropractor a couple times a week for manual adjustments. He was really gentle but firm. I could hear the crack when he was like doing the different adjustments. The loud cracks in my neck were the worst for me, maybe because it's closer to my ears, so of course you could hear it louder, and it's kind of creepy. But I got used to it over the years. Anyway, I still had a hard time with the neck. But within a couple weeks of going on that particular occasion, I started actually feeling better. I actually felt like I could move better, and all of a sudden I got the 2-point position in horseback riding lessons, and I was feeling really good about that. Anyway, I went to see him off and on for a few years after that, until he moved upstate, like far away. I couldn't go to him anymore, so I had to find another chiropractor. So I went looking, found one online that took my insurance, and went. Oh my gosh, that guy was so hard. He told me he did adjustments on the horses at the racetrack. Okay, I can see him being that rough and hard with horses, but I am not a horse. And I did not like it at all. I wound up in so much pain the day after going to see him. I absolutely hated it. I had to get out of there. And I quit seeing him very quickly. That's one thing you should look out for. maybe ask people there for referrals as to what they think is good. Nobody rough. You don't want that. I can't imagine that was good for anybody, but maybe the horses. After that, I found another chiropractor in the area that I wished I had went to in the first place. He turned into my favorite chiropractor. I went to see him for 15 years. I got off and on because I had a job where I sat at a desk all day, which is like the worst thing that you can do with my back the way it is. I was in pain off and on. It's like I found if I went for adjustments before I was in too much pain, it was a whole lot better because it would get better quicker. So I got into doing that for the most part, but every once in a while, I just let it get too bad. I would wind up having to go there quite a number of times before it got better. The thing I loved about this chiropractor is he had other therapies other than just manual adjustments. He always had me do one other thing before the adjustment. It started out with just the diathermy, which was just lying on my stomach, and I had this metal plate above me, and it was so warm, and it relaxed me and made me feel so good. I'd be just about asleep by the time he came in to do the adjustment. Another thing he did a cold laser therapy too, which I didn't really feel anything when he would do that. I mean, I'm not even sure if it did any good. He also used this spinal decompression table, kind of like looks like a medieval torture device or something. I don't know, but it has you lay on the table, and he straps you in, and then it like stretches you little by little. It just like stretches your body just a little bit, not enough to really feel lots of pain or anything. It actually felt kind of good in a way. I felt like he's stretching the muscles in my spine. I kind of like that. Another thing I liked about this doctor was that he was good when I'd have to see him for quite a few times. He would just take my insurance and not make me pay the copay because he knew it would be expensive if I came a few times a week and had to pay that all the time. He was very good about that. He seemed more about healing the patient rather than making them go broke. I like that. Overall, my experience with chiropractors have been very good, and they've really helped me out. And also, I noticed in that last chiropractor that I really loved, he took an x-ray, and I couldn't believe how much straighter my back was than it was the first x-ray a number of years ago. I mean, it wasn't totally straight, but it wasn't totally crooked either. It just like had a slight bend towards the bottom. Nothing like it used to be. And I was just like, chiropractic does really work. For me, it worked. It might not work for everybody. I'm not saying it's for everybody, but for me and my problem, I love my chiropractor. Since I moved away, I don't see that chiropractor I loved anymore. But I found two others that I like. One I like more for my shoulder when I was having shoulder, and also in the sciatica when I get that now and then. He does a really good job with that. The other one I like for my back. I think he does a better job. There are a lot of really good chiropractors out there. It's good to find just the right one for what your problem is, whether it be muscular, spinal, or I think it really does help with the joints, at least for me. I'm just going by and some people I know just don't like people laying hands on them and stuff like that. They have something against that. Then you might not like it. But for me, it was great. Nowadays, I'm retired. I don't have to sit at a desk so much, so I don't really get in that much pain anymore. I can get up and walk 5-10 minutes every hour, and I do try to do that. And it really helps keep the pain at bay, keeps my back going. I mean, that's the thing for me. I just got to keep moving. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'd love to hear about your own experiences with chiropractors in the comments below. I'm sure others of us could use that information too.